What's going on, everyone? Your mom's favorite YouTuber, KKS here, and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be starting my 2021 NFL mock draft. Um, as you can see, this is the format I'm going to be using. Up here, we've got the pick number is going to come first, then the team, and then the player they select and what position that player plays. Then in the bottom right, I'm going to be having I'm gonna give the rank the player that is selected that they are on my big board. So, for example, my first overall pick is gonna be Trevor Lawrence. I'm gonna have him going to the Jacksonville Jaguars at number one. He's number five on my big board, which may be a little low, but I'll explain that later. Um, I mean, what is there to say about Trevor Lawrence that hasn't been said? He's seen as one of the best quarterback prospects since Elway, or maybe Andrew Luck. It just depends. They're both very close. He's the most pro-ready quarterback in the draft, I think, by far. He has the ideal size you would want. I think he's 6'6". Um, he's definitely the safest quarterback prospect. He's definitely the guy that the Jaguars should take. He's very tough, very athletic. He's actually very surprisingly fast. We didn't expect to see that much in college. He's got a strong arm. He's got an accurate arm. You love like his short range to mid range accuracy. His deep passing could use some work. I think last year, or it was either last year or his entire college career, but he had a 38% completion percentage when throwing deep, which for Clemson is not very good considering the weapons they have and the teams they play against. But overall, that's one area of work he needs to focus on. But the accuracy on the out route, the in route, slant route, those are all there. He's got the strong arm, and he's also a great decision maker. Obviously not perfect. He's young, but for a quarterback prospect, this is where you'd want your prospect to be when you're drafting them. So, last thing, he's also very good moving in the pocket. I forgot to mention that. He understands where the pressure is coming from, when it's coming, and how to avoid it. The only problems I have with Trevor Lawrence are, despite the speed that he has, he does look a bit unbalanced when running. I'm not sure if you guys have noticed it. He looks kind of weird while running. It's because he's unbalanced, and um, he needs to focus on fixing that. Otherwise, it could be a potential injury in the future. And the last thing is that his throwing motion could be a factor of why he's not able to throw deep properly at the moment. Um, we all see the young quarterbacks have a few problems with their throwing motions. Trevor Lawrence isn't along the lines of where Aaron Rodgers was with his throwing motion or anything like that, but it's just a few easy fixes that he needs to work on, and hopefully that'll improve his deep passing. And after that, I mean, I don't have many concerns for this guy. He's one of the best players of this draft. That's why I have him at number five. And I think he's the perfect fit for Jacksonville. Jacksonville can't afford to take a high risk, high reward player. This is a low risk player, which has the potential for high risk, but at the very minimum is going to be your starting quarterback for years to come. And that's what Jacksonville needs. So perfect for Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence. Next up is the New York Jets. I have him taking quarterback Zach Wilson from BYU. He's number seven on my big board, behind Trevor Lawrence. Um, I like Zach Wilson, I really do. He's not only a very athletic quarterback, but he's also a very smart quarterback. He's got a strong arm. As we saw at his pro day, he could throw deep beautifully on the run. If you guys haven't seen that, go check it out. Great. He had a great pass in front of NFL scouts, and that ultimately led the Jets to be comfortable in trading Sam Darnold. So, he's also a very tough kid. Maybe a little, I don't want to use the word overconfident because that's not what he is, but he does try to do a bit too much with the ball. and that could be really concerning, especially if he's playing for the New York Jets, because it could cause a lot of turnovers, which will hurt his confidence, and it could also cause injury if he's risking himself getting hit just to extend the play a few yards. But um, I think other than that, he's a little slim. He's got great height, 6'3". So he should, with the toughness that he has, you'd like him to be a bit like I would say thicker, more add some more weight. But other than that, I think Zach Wilson's a great quarterback. I hope that they have a game plan prepared for him and he's not just thrown into the fire because New York is not an ideal situation at the moment. He's got receivers in Corey Davis and Crowder, and I'm forgetting somebody else, Denzel Mims as well, if he develops. But his starting running back at the moment is Tevin Coleman. Unless they take somebody in the second round, um, Zach Wilson's going to have a bit of trouble. And I don't want him to lose his confidence because of a slow start, because I would have liked to see him start his career as a backup for someone, but New York, I mean, their best quarterback right now is James Morgan. So unless they sign a veteran quarterback, I think Zach Wilson's going to be the guy in week one. And if it starts off wrong, who knows what could happen? Who knows what happens to his confidence? The confidence of a quarterback is what matters so much. That's the difference between Drew Lock being good and being bad right now because he has zero confidence. And sometimes there's just nothing you can do about it. It's just the mental part of the game. So yeah, Zach Wilson number two. At number three, the San Francisco 49ers. A lot of controversy with this pick. I'm going Justin Fields. Justin Fields, yeah, look at my number for him. Number four, I have him as my number one quarterback in this class, which is kind of controversial because Trevor Lawrence, like 99% of people think he's the number one quarterback, or even Zach Wilson. Some people, I know Chris Sims said Zach Wilson number one. Um, but I mean, for Justin Fields, I think he's got great size that complements his athleticism. He's probably the most accurate, not accurate, sorry, that is way off. He's probably one of the most athletic quarterbacks in this draft. And he's also 6'3", so he's also very tough. As you saw in the Clemson game, he got hurt, came back, threw a touchdown immediately. But other than that, he's shown signs of his toughness during the regular season, during last year. Um, so I'd love Justin Fields to be my quarterback. I think he's got the highest ceiling of all these quarterbacks. I think you put him in San Francisco, that's the best position where he can reach that ceiling. If, for example, he went to someone like Detroit, or I don't know if New York took him, I wouldn't be so sure. I think it would be a very difficult task for him to succeed. But in SF, I think there's going to be very little concern. He's gonna have a solid quarterback in front of him and Jimmy Garoppolo to teach him and also just to keep him on the sideline for a year or two. And hopefully, if Jimmy Garoppolo stays healthy, Justin Fields is going to be the backup and learn from one of the best offensive minds in the game, Kyle Shanahan. As for Justin Fields' ability, he throws a very good deep ball. He can throw from both inside and outside the pocket to anywhere on the field. He can throw any route that his receivers run, and he really has no problems when it comes to his physical attributes. Only the mental ones, which can all be solved with hard work. And Justin Fields is a hard worker. So the main concerns about Justin Fields, um, he does stay stuck on his first read way too often. We see that in pretty much every game, especially if that first read is Chris Olave. He's going to trust Chris Olave in triple coverage oftentimes. And I mean, even for the best receivers, triple coverage is not an easy task. And also just his decision making in general. He underestimates the corner's position on his receiver sometimes. And last year, we saw him throw some very like questionable throws that could have been intercepted, but they were dropped a lot of the times, and it made him look a bit better than he was. But um, Yeah, he needs to work on that before he's going to be starting for a football team. So that's about it for Justin Fields. And next up, we have Micah Parsons, linebacker for Penn State. I think the Falcons take him. He's very versatile. He can play in either the 4-3 or 3-4 as an edge, outside linebacker, middle linebacker, anything. He used to be an edge, but he transitioned to linebacker. He supposedly ran a 4.340 at his pro day. I'm not sure how accurate that number is, but I don't know. We'll see. He's got a crazy high ceiling though. We don't know exactly where he is at his game at the moment because he opted out this past season. But I mean, he's adjusting positions, and so I don't want to be too critical of his play on film. I just want to look at his physical tools, and he's got everything you would want. Great size, great speed, great athleticism, toughness. The only problem is sometimes he has trouble in stopping the run, and he was very inconsistent, which again is because he's switching positions and everything. But yeah, just some games like against Michigan, I think he looked pretty much invisible. He was shut down all game long, especially against the run. Against the pass, I would say not quite where we would want him to be as a prospect, but it's obviously something that could be worked on. So Micah Parsons for Atlanta, I think is a great piece. Atlanta could very well go quarterback here, but I think with Fields gone, I think it really comes down to if they would want Mac Jones or Trey Lance, and I'm not sure if they'd pass up on Micah Parsons for a Trey Lance when they already have Matt Ryan, who's still 35 and got a lot of football left in him. So Atlanta Falcons take Micah Parsons at 4. At 5, we have the Bengals taking Jamar Chase. Now, I know everybody wants them to draft Penei Sewell, and I don't blame them. I think that should be the pick as well. But I think Joe Burrow is going to advocate for Jamar Chase till the end of the world. Um, and I think they're going to end up taking him. And honestly, if they're not going to take an offensive lineman, this is the guy they should take. I have him at number 2 on my big board. He's the best. I think he's the best receiver in this draft class. Not my favorite, but I think he's the best. He's very strong and very tough considering he's a receiver. He's also very smart. He knows where the first down marker is at all times. He knows what to do at the line of scrimmage. He knows where the sideline is. He knows how to create separation. And also he's great at making plays down the field. So he's a perfect fit with Joe Burrow. We saw at LSU, and so the question mark of the fit won't be there, and so that's why it's a ultimately a safe pick. Um, I mean, it's a safe pick, but left tackle would honestly be better. But I mean, Jamar Chase, I'm not upset if that's the pick. And other things about Chase, good hands, great catch radius. Press coverage didn't work on him in college. It's going to be different in the NFL, obviously, but I mean, he showed great signs of beating it. The only, I mean, there with his cons, I mean, Jamar Chase, I can't really think of any. The only problem I have is he didn't play last year, and so he couldn't try and replicate that success without Joe Burrow. But the problem is, if he's taken by the Bengals, then he'll be with Joe Burrow, and so you won't have to worry about that. So yeah, Jamar Chase is one of my safer prospects in this draft, honestly, especially if he goes to Cincinnati. I think this is the best fit for him because we've saw what he's done with Burrow, and he's proven he's an elite receiver with Burrow. So only thing is he's got to transition to the league, and I think he's going to be probably the best receiver in this draft. And then, so yeah, that's number 5. At number 6, I think the Dolphins take Devonta Smith. Keeping the theme going of former college quarterbacks playing with their former college receivers. Devonta Smith, I have him at number 10 on my big board. I have him as my third ranked receiver. I think you could guess who I have ranked ahead of him, other than Jamar Chase. I mean, the, the concerns are obviously with his weight. I mean, he's 6'1", 175 pounds. That's just not gonna cut it in the NFL. And he's gonna obviously have to put on some weight. I mean, we all remember Hunter Renfro was that tiny kid, who was like what 140 pounds at 5'10", but right now in the NFL he's 185, and that's what he needs to be in the NFL. And Devonta Smith is 3 inches taller and 10 pounds lighter is not gonna work. So I'd like to see him at around 200 eventually, but by the time his rookie year starts, I'd like to see him at least 185, 190, because I mean that's a concern for his injuries. You're gonna have these giant linebackers chasing after you for what, like 230, 240, 250, and that's not gonna be a pleasant feeling. And you don't want to see Devontae Smith getting hurt. But other than that, he's honestly has very few flaws in his game. Heisman Trophy winner, we obviously saw what he could do. Very smart, very fast. He's got a long wingspan, very long arms, just very thin arms. He's got hops. He's not strong, but he shows toughness. He's willing to fight. And that's what you like to see. When he gets that strength, he's going to be a great blocker, and he's going to do anything you want him to on the field. And yeah, he's a solid route runner, and he's rarely gonna drop the ball. So I mean, Devontae Smith checks everything, every box except his weight, and that's honestly something you could fix. Just hit the weight room, man. And that's it for Devontae Smith. Next up, pick number 7, Detroit Lions. I have him taking Jalen Waddle. I have Jalen Waddle ahead of Devontae Smith on my big board, and again, that's a debatable topic. A lot of people have Devontae Smith as their number one receiver, but I have him at 3 and I have Waddle at 2. Um, so with Jalen Waddle, as I said, Jamar Smith is who I think is the best receiver, but not my favorite. Jalen Waddle is my favorite, and it's because he's one of the most explosive, shifty players I've ever seen. Like, I remember when Tavon Austin was coming out, and I thought he was this amazing player. Like nobody could tackle him. Jalen Waddle is better than that. It's honestly insane. If you haven't watched Jalen Waddle, do yourself a favor and turn on some tape of him. Not from this previous year because he was hurt, but the last year. And just that whole Alabama receiving core in general was insane with Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Jerry Jeudy, um, and Henry Ruggs as well. It was just insane. Um, so yeah, he's got sub 4.3 speed, insane athleticism, but he's still also very smart, just like Devontae Smith. Alabama receivers are always very smart, and I think he's the best receiver in this draft class when it comes to receiving down the field, deep down the field, I should say. And he's also got good hands. He's not going to drop the ball that easy. Um, Tough player. Again, even Jalen Waddle is a bit on the lighter side, but again, he's the same frame as Hunter Renfro. They're both 5'10", both 185. And I mean, again, that just goes to show with Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle is 10 pounds heavier than him, and he's still 3 inches shorter. And he also specializes in speed and athleticism, just like Devontae Smith. But yeah, the cons for Jalen Waddle, I mentioned Tavon Austin earlier. He wasn't utilized properly. That took a hit to his confidence when he wasn't able to make these big plays early in his career, and he turned out being a bust. And the same is possible for Jalen Waddle. And if he goes to Detroit, they need to make sure they give him every chance to succeed, because Detroit, as we know, not one of the best franchises in the NFL, I should say, and don't exactly have the best track record. But I mean, it can always change. They've got a new coach and everything, and I just hope Jalen Waddle is utilized properly if he ends up going to Detroit. If he doesn't, then I think he'll be fine. But Detroit need to make sure they give Jalen Waddle every chance to succeed. And another last concern is that he's not very strong, as I said. But again, he shouldn't really be required to need much strength, because I think he should mostly be utilized in the slot, and he shouldn't really be out there blocking anyway. So I think Jalen Waddle's going to be fine as long as Detroit gives him every chance to succeed. and I think he could be a generational type player, as long as he keeps his confidence up. And then my last pick for this video, it's going to be the Carolina Panthers taking Penei Sewell, and they're going to be extremely lucky to have this guy fall this far. I have him at number 3 on my big board. Only reason I didn't have him getting taken earlier is because of that run on receivers from the Bengals, Dolphins, and Lions. I ultimately think the Bengals should take Sewell, but I think the pick is going to be Chase. I could be wrong, but I think it's going to be Chase. Um, but anyways, Penei Sewell, he's got great size for an O tackle, 6'6", 330 pounds. He's very athletic for that size as well, which is going to be great to see in both the passing game and the running game. He's great at pulling as well, and that's gonna mean he could fit into pretty much any scheme in the NFL. The only problem is he did say he would only play left tackle, so I guess that means that teams with a solid left tackle would ultimately go in a different direction. Um, he has few concerns in his game. I mean, the only concern we have is he didn't play last year. He and also the fact that he doesn't have very many, I would say, fantastic qualities. Everything right now is solid. And again, Penei Sewell is similar to, as I said, with Trevor Lawrence. He's going to be a high floor player, not necessarily low ceiling because he definitely has the ceiling, but he does, at the moment, he's not like projecting the sense that he could be an all pro left tackle. And I don't want to say that to discourage him, but I mean, from what I've seen on tape, he obviously didn't play last year, so again, limited sample size. But I think he's going to be a solid left tackle and not some like Pro Bowl left tackle. So, I mean, that's pretty much it for his pros. I mean, the only problem is, um, in his blocking. He can block linemen pretty well, but when it gets to that second level, to the linebackers, to the DBs, he oftentimes misjudges them. He misses very often, and yeah. Um, Again, he does hold a bit more than you would like to see, but it's not some major concern that would immediately turn you off from him. So I think Penei Sewell, he's got to work on his hand placement, make sure he doesn't hold very much, make sure he judges the linebackers and DBs better, and I think he's going to be a great tackle in this league and somebody you could trust to protect your quarterback. And for the Panthers case, the guy they're hoping is their quarterback of the future and Sam Darnold. And yeah, that's it for this video. For my mock draft, players 1 through 8. Let's run through it again. We have Trevor Lawrence at 5, or sorry, at 1, number 5 on the big board, Zach Wilson 2, Justin Fields 3, Michael Parsons 4, Jamar Chase 5, Devonta Smith 6, Jalen Waddle 7, and Penei Sewell 8. And yeah, thank you all for watching. If you like the video, please make sure you leave a like on the video and also comment down below. If any of your teams are in the top 8 and you want a certain player to be drafted for them, then let me know. And also if you agree, disagree with any of the picks that I mentioned. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all next time.